Hello, welcome to the Roadmap to Food Freedom. I'm Dana Lee, your host. We are revealing step number 1 ahead of time. So as soon as you register for the event, voila, here you are and here I am, and we're going to dive right into it. So wasting no time at all, but it does give you a little something to work on between now and the official start of the event. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to let you know this is a bit of how our event is going to work. I always have a little slide presentation because it's how I stay super organized. And we're also a bit of visual learners, many of us. So this helps us stay on task with what the heck we're talking about on our roadmap to food freedom. All right, so this is an online event and it runs from April 23rd. That's when step number 2 is going to be released. We're going to go step 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way through that week. And then replays are going to be up through May 3rd, which is the following Friday. This is going to be giving you time to do the replays, but it's also time for some other bonuses and some other cool things I have up my sleeve for you just for enrolling in this awesome event. All right, so this workshop is for you if you identify with any of the following things. You cannot bring yourself to go on even one more diet. Maybe you've been dieting since the age of 12, maybe even younger. For me personally, it started around the age of 15. So most of the women I talk to, now I'm 47, so I'm a Gen Xer. A lot of the women I work with are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, but they have such a long, torrid history with dieting. So if that is you, this workshop is designed for you. The other part of this, of not only like I can't go on one more diet, the part that's frustrating is that maybe there's still elements that you can't control yourself around food, or you feel like food rules you. So if you have tried all the things, all the diets, and followed a bunch of different plans, and you still can't control yourself around food, but you need to do something. So if you connect with or identify with emotional eating, binge eating, nighttime snacking, food rules, maybe food fear, maybe you don't trust yourself with food. That is all common. Not trusting yourself around food, or maybe like I can't keep the Reese's peanut butter cups in the cabinet. I've got to throw them out. I can't keep the cookies in the cabinet. I've got to throw them out. This workshop's going to help flip that around so you understand why those behaviors, maybe you know some of why the behaviors are there, but more importantly, how do you stop those behaviors, wean them out, but not using willpower? We're going to talk about that in this workshop. If you loathe your body and you have a history of hating yourself, if you gain weight and lose weight and gain weight and lose weight over and over again, and possibly for decades, this workshop is for you. So not only are we going to be talking about food freedom, we're weaving in some body freedom. And even if you are loathing yourself or hate yourself and can't possibly, like, how could I possibly love myself? Perhaps you will loathe yourself less in the 5 days we have together, or a little bit longer than 5 days. So it's very difficult to think about flipping the switch and all of a sudden I'm going to love myself. I totally understand that. It took me a long time to move from seeing my body, no matter how lean I was, to actually accepting and starting to appreciate and see it differently. And now I love who I am as a woman and as a human. And I see my body as the vehicle that like allows me to do all these amazing things in life. So we're going to take a look at those things. How can we look at our bodies differently? If you want to find a new way to get to know the real you without your identity wrapped up in how much you weigh, that's really important, especially if you relate to being on a diet since you were very young or for as long as you can remember. The problem is we have our identity then wrapped up in dieting. So who am I without dieting? That can be a very scary question, or maybe a scary answer. I don't know, but I'm right here with you. And my girl Mandy is right here with you. The community is right here with you, because we understand, as exciting as it can be, there can also be parts that are a little bit, you get you nervous thinking about who am I without this thing that I've attached myself through to for so many years? So we are going to be talking about identity here. If you want to learn how to stop putting yourself last on your list, this is huge. That's a big turning point for the women who typically will do the roadmap to food freedom with me. This is the 6th time I'm running it, so I definitely have an understanding of who typically will enroll and register in this free event like this, or even who ends up going on to work with me. There has to be some level of your willingness to put yourself first on the list, even if it's not happening all the time. In our step number 1, I want to really commend you. This in and of itself, you're starting to put yourself first. This is it. It's happening. You're doing it right now just by watching this video right here. So this can be your experimentation or a practice session through our roadmap together, where you can practice what it's like to carve out time to legitimately do this training. And you're not doing it for me, you're doing it for you. And you're starting to build the trust back up in yourself and your confidence back up that, oh, look, I can do things that put myself first. And you'll start to see the ripple effect as everyone benefits. Everyone benefits from that. So over our time together, my hope is that you start to see, it almost builds a case for why it's so important to put yourself first at this stage of your life. It's necessary. If you're unable to put yourself first, unfortunately, the food issues will remain. I don't know how else to say that. I'm not here as your coach and mentor to sugarcoat things, I guess you can say. I am here so you get true breakthroughs, eye-opening results, things start to shift and really change in our time together. And if I'm just going to give you fluff and kind of sugarcoat things, it's not going to be helpful. So I'm just going to be honest. You've got to be willing to put yourself first. It's time. It's time. All right. So a couple other things I want to mention is that there's a lot of talk out there about these weight loss injectables, Ozempic, Wegovy, all different semaglutide combinations. And I want you to know that there's no shame here. I work with women on the whole spectrum of their dieting and relationship with their body, wherever you are in that journey. You're doing the best that you can. And I know you're doing the best that you can. And there's this inner desire that you want to fit in, you want to be loved, and you want to be accepted. And you also want to do that for yourself. You want to love yourself, accept yourself, be willing to fit in for yourself, not even into other things, into other communities or your family. That's part of it. But it's also where you feel like you really belong. And maybe there is some way that you just feel like you're carrying this excess weight and it doesn't even actually feel like the real you. So I want to hold this space to explore that. All are welcome here. There is no shame and no blaming going on. This is a self-exploration and a learning experience. And I've been doing this for so many years. I do this really well, holding the space for women to really look at themselves and I hate this is overused so much, a safe space, but I want you to know as a leader, I have fired clients. I have kicked people out of my community. You are safe here. You are safe with me, because if anyone goes beyond that understanding of keeping it on themselves, like you're here to do the work for you, if anyone pushes on that and does it in a disrespectful way, I have no problem kicking them out of the community. They can continue their success elsewhere. But we don't need to have that. We don't have to be part of their journey, right? So as they figure their stuff out, that's totally fine. It is not cancel culture. It's called boundaries, my friends. It's called boundaries. I'm very clear with them, and I also will enforce them. So I want you to know that whatever it is you are exploring with weight loss injectables, or if you've had bariatric surgery, that's the other thing that perhaps I have clients I'm working with now that are struggling with the shame they feel that they should have had more success with bariatric surgery, whatever that success looks like. Maybe it's weight, but perhaps thinking that, I thought my mindset would be different. I thought I wouldn't be obsessing about food, but that wasn't their reality. So if you're experiencing some side effects from bariatric surgery, not just physical, but like the mental and emotional stuff, and it didn't work to the extent that you wanted it to work, I want you to know that you belong here. This is absolutely a conversation that you should be having with yourself as well, about exploring what is going on with my relationship with food. Where did it start? How did I participate? What's the participation from outside influences? And we're going to talk more about that as we move through our training. So you belong here, and I'm really happy you're here. The agenda is, so today we're covering the first step, which is, this is the first step, critical step that most women skip. I'm really excited to talk to you about this because it can be easily dismissed. Do not dismiss this step, or you do this step. You're already doing this, but the intention behind our work is so important. Okay. And we're actually, I'm working on a coloring book I'm going to be releasing to you. It's coming out April 19th. So depending on when you're watching this video, we will be setting some intentions of our work together, what you want to get out of our work together. So the intention behind what we're doing today in step number 1 is going to make all the difference for you. So it's really exciting. Can't wait to share it. Okay, so Tuesday, April 23rd is step number 2. That's when the training officially begins. I'm going live at 2 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, so step 2, get clear on what you really want, so it actually has a chance of happening. Okay, so this idea is begin with the end in mind. I have an exercise that helps you really, it's not goal setting. It's not goal setting. Forget about that. Goal setting, I don't know how effective it is, really. It sets us up for like, great, one more thing I'm going to fail at. So that's not what this is. This is literally like picturing what it is you desire and what kind of experience you want to have in your day-to-day life. And that is super important, because if you don't have that, then you're going to flounder with the food and the exercise and the body, and all of that's going to flounder because you're not giving yourself a destination, hence the roadmap to food freedom. Okay, so Wednesday, step 3, remove the stuff getting in your way. We talk about that a little bit here in step 1, but step 3 is a super powerful one, because there is emotional stuff getting in your way. You know it, and I know it. So we're going to look at it in a more lighthearted way. I promise you, it's being inquisitive, it's being curious. I can take a really heavy subject like our relationship with food and our body and find a way to kind of separate ourselves out so we can look at it differently and not get so sucked into it where it gets scary to look at. So I want to be real with you, and I want you to get the breakthroughs that you're coming for. But I also this doesn't need to be really hard, really deep, really fast. It doesn't have to be like that in order for you to skim the next layer of your own learning and insight. Okay, so we are going to take a look at the stuff getting in your way. So when we look at it, we can actually take it out of the way. So Thursday, April 25th, we're going to be talking about our food strategy for women in 2024. So this is huge. This is my personal food strategy, but it's not like, oh, this is the thing that's like Dana's way. Yes, it's what I have come to find out, but it's not like another rule for you to follow. That's not what this is. I empower the women in my community so you are able to work without me. You know, I know that's weird to say as a personal trainer, as a mentor, as a coach. I am not creating codependent relationships here. What I'm sharing with you and what you're going through here in this training is to empower you so you may come to me, you lean on me, you're going to lean on Mandy, you're going to come for the support and come for the guidance, but you're not going to need me. You're starting to create your own way of critical thinking and trusting yourself again. So this food strategy is really, it's an important one for you to learn about, because it is the thing that broke everything open when I started looking at food in a different way. So we're going to talk about that on step 4 on Thursday. Friday, April 26th is a step 5. So that's where we map it out and choose your own adventure. So it's the roadmap to food freedom. So hence, you know, I do have that coloring book that's coming your way if I didn't already send it out, depending on when you're watching this. But I have a drawn out roadmap, and we're going to go through and kind of fill it out. But like by step 5, filling in the rest, and you're really going to see the whole picture of what has been missing. Then from where you are with struggling with food to the food freedom on the other side, we are mapping it out together, and I'm really excited you're here. So a little bit of housekeeping. I kind of went over this, but 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, and 11 a.m. Pacific. Say that 3 times fast. That is the time of our training from Tuesday to Friday. So every time I'm going live, I am going live in 2 places, on the Facebook fan page and at the same time on my YouTube channel. I'm using software called StreamYard, and it allows me to stream in 2 different places. I cannot stream in my Facebook group anymore. Facebook took that ability away from us content creators and hosts of groups. So we cannot use a third-party app to stream into a group. So I'm going to stream on my fan page and YouTube, and then I'm going to put the replay in 2 places. The replay is going to go in the Facebook group and also on the replay page. Okay, so when you registered for this event, you're on my email list. Look in your spam folder. Make sure you're not missing my emails. Email is like, I know it's so old school and it seems archaic, but I still open my emails from people that I want to hear from. This event, I'm going to be sending you 2 emails a day. One is going to be like, hey, we're going live and this is the thing we're going to talk about. Let me remind you. And then the second email you're going to get later in the day is, oh, yay, all the replays are posted. Now, if you're already on Facebook or in YouTube, the replay is available right away on the fan page and on YouTube. But if you're off socials, it's going to take us a little bit of time. Mandy is helping me out on the back end of things, getting that video uploaded, downloaded, and doing all the magical fairy things in the background that I don't have to do anymore. And she's going to get it up on the replay page and send out an email so you know about it. Okay, so I mentioned the Facebook group. The reason I'm still having the Facebook group is because it's private. This can be sensitive topics that we're talking about here. Our relationship to food and our body is a very sacred, personal thing. So I do understand that, and I want to keep that space really protected. As I told you earlier, that's really important to me. It's always been important to me. Even when I ran my gym, Evolution Health and Fitness, I was like really protective, like mama bear over that space and women's exercise and how they felt comfortable there. So all the assignments that I give you and the insights and anything else that you want to share are going to happen in that group. So that way you're really supported with the other women who are on this journey doing the roadmap with you. And we don't have to worry about your friends and family and other people seeing what it is you're posting. None of that is going to happen. Only what you post and what is shared within our Facebook group. Okay, so if you are not on Facebook, and unfortunately, that's the only place that we're going to be able to track the homework assignments. We do have gifts and giveaways. Everyone who enters is going to be entered into drawings. Okay, and we're going to have some really fun giveaways. All right, so the hashtag we'll be using in the Facebook group for all of the assignments. Doesn't matter, day 1, starting with this, all the way through day 5, step 1 through step 5. Hashtag Spring Freedom 2024, all one word. Hashtag Spring Freedom 2024. And all of that will also be in your coloring book. So as you're doing the assignments and following along, you'll know the hashtag. All right. So just a bit about me. I'm not going to spend too much time. You're going to get to know me over the course of our time together in the roadmap, but a bit about who I am and how I got here. So I've been a fitness professional for 30 years. I started at the ripe old age of 17, straight out of high school. I have more to share on that in our, I'm going to share that in step number 3, a bit of in 3 and step number 4. I've experienced food freedom since 2014. I've actually started on that path then. In the past 7 years, I've been really honing it in to teach it to other women and understand these principles that I have in the framework that I teach, that it's a framework. They're not more rules. It's not, it's something that can be applied to your life in a way that really livens you up and brings you back to who you really are, separating out the food issues. Like, oh, okay, that's not really what's going on. These principles are the guiding light to building a beautiful life. It's not just healing your relationship with food. So I have this picture here of me on the motorcycle because I was 38 years old and I got my motorcycle license. And that was actually a pretty parallel to my food freedom journey. And the whole idea of this roadmap to food freedom is like, I got back into the driver's seat of my life. So it was really interesting when I got my motorcycle license. For years and years, I liked being the passenger on a motorcycle. I grew up with motorcycles. My dad had a bike. My brother was always on dirt bikes. I was dated somebody who had a motorcycle. It almost had to be a prerequisite. Do you have a motorcycle? Okay, we can date. um, but all joking aside, I actually I just like, one day I'll get my license. And when I did, I was like, it is now one of my most favorite things to do. My husband has a bike. We have intercoms. We get to talk to each other as we ride. If like it's a beautiful day out, I'm like, oh, texting him like, hey, you gonna get out of work early today? Can we like get out on the bikes? If I don't have clients that night or something. So it is one of my favorite things to do now. And it is interesting to me how it does align with around the time I was really breaking free from this grappling with food in my body. Been married for 18 years, coming up in May, with my husband, Steve, for 20. Steve and I are like, we are such great partners. He's an amazing human being. You'll get to know him too as we go along here. I couldn't be as far as I am with healing my relationship to food if I didn't have a really supportive husband who loved me truly for who I am. And that's something I want to say to you, whether male, female, whatever, whoever your partner is, your partner sees you in a way that they, just like you would see your partner, in a way that they see the love and the light of who you really are. So if you can possibly open your mind and be willing to be like, wow, if they see me this way and they really love me for who I am, what if I can see myself that way? And Steve did that for me. He helped turn some things around of like giving myself a chance of like, wow, he like unconditionally loves me, this human. And so healing my relationship with food has healed my relationship with my husband in my marriage. So just real quick, I've covered some of this already in telling a bit of my story. I'm married. I'm a diet recovery coach, successful career of 30 years. I'm a mentor. I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. I'm an aunt. I'm a friend. I'm an inventor. I invented something called the coffee carry-on. Super fun. I will tell you about that in some other time. I'm a traveler and lover of rich experiences. I love traveling, whether that's road trips or flying to different countries, islands, uh, river cruises. We went to Alaska, all sorts of places. I love traveling. We try to do that at least twice a year. I'm an entrepreneur. I can't help myself. I have nonstop creative ideas. I'm a 47-year-old woman. I have no kids. I have no kids because I've never wanted children, ever, ever, ever. That switch never flipped on for me. Maybe we'll talk about that at some point too. I do work with a lot of women who do have children and they're amazing moms and they're doing the best they can. And maybe they're at the point that their kids they're older and they're getting out of the house. And now it's like, again, going back to the identity thing. Who am I without dieting? Who am I without being this kid's mom or, being a mom in general? Maybe your kids are getting older and it's like, now what? Now I'm left with myself. Or left with a partner who's close to retiring or something like that. So we are definitely going to explore that at some point, no doubt, because I work with a lot of women who are in that stage. I'm a CASA. A CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocate. It's a volunteer position where I help children in foster care. So I've been on the same case for over 5 years now. She's very close to being adopted. I can't say too many details about my case out of privacy and all of that good stuff. But I will say it's a rewarding position, but a very emotionally difficult position. Basically, a CASA is a direct line to the judge, and my role is to advocate for this child to make sure her education, her health, anything she needs, any support she needs, services she needs, that even if social services isn't taking care of things as they should, I kind of like put the pressure on and make sure things are going as they should be. And my goal is always permanency. Our goal as CASAs is permanency. If anyone has questions about that, please let me know. I'd be happy to share more about that organization. It's across the United States. I'm an exerciser, a hiker, a lifter, a walker. I do the things and I really love them by myself or with others or with my clients. I love it. I'm a Gemini. I'm born in June. I'm a manifester, 5-2 profile. If you follow human design or if you run your human design chart and you follow that, I'm a manifester. I'm only 9% of the population out there. And So that's been super fun to discover about myself. And of course, my motorcyclist, right? So I shared a bit about that. But oh, and a Jeep owner. As you've seen my orange Jeep Clementine and all over my social media pictures with the roadmap to food freedom. I love my Jeep. It's super fun. So just note here, I did not say I'm a food addict, right? I'm not identifying as an exercise addict or a chronic dieter or a binge eater, emotional eater. I didn't identify with those roles any longer. I used to. I used to say I'm a binge eater. I used to say I'm an exercise addict. And I used to almost say it with a badge of honor because in the fitness industry, that's something to be proud of. So that's another conversation. But I don't identify with those roles anymore. I actually had to work on breaking up with that role. Who am I without being those things? So this training is designed to help you break up with those identities. But when you break up with them, it's letting go of one thing to let in something else. So voila, our critical starting point that most women skip. Okay, so it's decluttering and letting go. Because I just said, in order to let in a new identity or new ideas or new things, we've got to let some things go. So we begin clearing the path to allow the solutions for healing food issues, the food and body behaviors to be revealed. All right, this is so, so important. So upon registering, you made a decision. You decided the old patterns of behavior around food have got to change. So if you're watching this video, please share in a comment that you made this decision. Did you make this decision, whether it was conscious or unconscious? Now that I said that, it's yeah, when I registered, that was going on in my mind. I've got to stop these old patterns and behaviors. They've got to change. So please share that. There's something powerful, even in as you're stating things and you're making claims for yourself, of recognizing a turning point. So make a claim for it. But how do you change those things? It's always the how. I know I need to, but how do I do it? We start really simple. Your external environment is a reflection of your internal environment. Now, I understand if I say something like that, you may say, well, I don't know if I believe that. So we're actually going to talk about that more in step 3, about beliefs, about the power of beliefs. So if there's already an unwillingness to examine this, it's going to be hard for you to heal your relationship with food. Again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If, however, you are willing to suspend the belief, oh, there's an alarm for something, suspend notification, suspend a belief about your external environment reflecting your internal, just humor me. It's what if it was? Now you may read this and say, oh yeah, actually, I kind of know a little bit about this. Maybe you've been reading books, you've been already doing some personal development work and, cleaning out the clutter and things like that. We're going to examine that a little bit deeper today. So if you live in clutter, it will be very difficult to open up space for new ideas, ways of thinking, or solutions to come in. If you think about that, if you're lots of clutter all around you all the time, where's the space for the new and the good? It becomes very difficult to even allow it or to receive it. As women, we typically have a hard time receiving good, right? We can't even receive a compliment. Somebody says, oh, I love that dress on you. And you're like, thanks, I got it for $10 at Target. It's like, what? Just accept the compliment. What is that? What is that about? Right? So we're going to talk about what that's about. That has to do with our worthiness and our value as a human being in this world, which definitely has something to do with our food issues. We'll talk about that more in step 4. So let's start with something really simple, because food behaviors, you've been trying to change them, and sometimes you've had success and sometimes you backslide. So why don't we start with something way simpler? Let's examine our relationship to things instead. So Peter Walsh said, clutter is not just the stuff on your floor. It's anything that stands between you and the life you want to be living. That's what we're doing on the Roadmap to Food Freedom. That's my promise to you. That's what I do with my mentorship clients. It's how do we bridge the gap from where we are here and now to the other side. This is the life I want to be living over here, but here's where I'm stuck, right? So in between that, there's lots of clutter. We got to like literally move it out of our path on the roadmap. Maybe like there was some sort of like, mudslide that came across our path. We got to dig it out and move it out of the way so we can drive on through and make our path a lot smoother. So, what does decluttering have to do with eating habits directly? I'm glad you asked. Holding on to things that no longer serve you is directly correlated with holding on to behaviors that no longer serve you. And I'm going to give an example. Before that, when it feels difficult to change a behavior, be willing to let go of something in your environment first. With the intention, I mentioned intention before, with the intention of learning about your relationship to that object as you let it go. So I have this mug. I got coffee here. I also have my water, by the way. And you will hear me say, this is thirsty work. Make sure you got your water. So you're going through your mugs and you're getting ready to let go of some mugs because you're like, okay, this is excessive. It's like, okay, there's down to 2 of us in the house or whatever your situation is. And you're like, I don't need all these mugs. You have 1 or 2 favorites, right? You know this. So here's the intention. What is happening with emotionally why I need to hang on to this mug that I never really even use? Is there sentimental value to it? Did someone gift it to you and then you feel a level of guilt for letting it go, but you never really liked the mug, or it doesn't really match your other mugs? There's really a lot to learn about our attachment to things. Okay, the emotional pull to things. So here's my example. If you get more comfortable with that, recognizing, okay, so someone gifted this to me, I feel a little guilty for getting rid of it, but I'm not using it, and it really is taking up space, and I'd really prefer a more beautiful open cabinet. When I open my cabinet, I prefer everything to be organized at this stage of my life. That's more important to me. Let me let go of these other things. So if you throw stuff away in your environment, it makes it easier for you to throw food away off of your plate when you feel the point of satisfaction, but you feel the guilt setting in of, oh, but so-and-so made all this food and I don't want them to feel bad. But yet you're making yourself feel bad by finishing what's on the plate because you were part of the clean plate club growing up. So also share with me in a comment, were you part of the clean plate club? Because that's definitely common among us folk here. It's like, yeah. Now, I personally, my mom never made us finish the food on our plate, but I had my own levels of food dysfunction. We'll get into that much more in the coming days. But I do work with a lot of women who had grown up with that. Yep, had to finish everything on my plate if I took it, whether I wanted it or not, right? Sometimes they would serve the food for you and you still had to finish it because kids are dying in Ethiopia. So how do you start to change that behavior when you know it's not something that you want to do? You don't want to overstuff yourself. It's like, I don't even want to eat that extra food, but I'm compelled to do it. Get used to that feeling of guilt. That's the problem. The problem is the feeling that you don't want to feel, hence the emotional eating. There's lots of feelings we don't want to feel. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the coming days as well, touching on them. I say in the coming days because I often string concepts between, right? So you're going to watch step 1 today. Some of step 1 is going to be pulled into step 2. Then we take step 1 and 2 and pull it into 3. So it has this compounding effect with momentum, and more ideas and concepts will make more sense to you as we work together and go through this training together. So let's practice. I feel guilty. Okay, I feel guilty. I'm going to throw this thing out and I'm not going to die. No one else is going to die in the process. And maybe you can donate, right? You donate them to somebody that you're like, oh, my neighbor just moved in. She doesn't have that many, that many utensils, or, I bet she could really use it. She has her grandkids over there all the time. Be creative. Be thinking about okay, maybe someone else can use this more than I need it. And it's making me feel a certain way. And I'm putting up with that feeling. Isn't that interesting? Be inquisitive, be curious. And in the meantime, if you don't have the coloring book yet, because in the coloring book I have notes, like areas for you to write notes, maybe you want to journal through this process or share in our Facebook group, okay, which you will be doing anyway because it was part of the assignment. So this decluttering and letting go and throwing out things in your environment is a very powerful way to help you feel lighter. It helps you feel lighter emotionally. Like, last time you threw out a bag of clothes, you donated clothes, maybe you had 2 or 3 garbage bags in the trunk of your car and you finally dropped them off in the clothes bin. That feeling of like, like, do you feel it? Like, close your eyes for a second. Imagine that, the feeling. You're putting it into the bin, you're handing the clothes off to Goodwill. It feels so light. That's what we're going for, right? I want to lose weight so you feel lighter in your body. We must find ways to feel lighter energetically and emotionally. This is a way. This is a way to do it. Here's your way in. So when you feel lighter emotionally, you're in a much more empowered position to make more aligned decisions. So that lightness puts you in a better mood. How you have a better outlook. You have a better attitude. And then the cool thing is you walk back into your space and you're like, or you open your closet and you're like, oh, that feels so good. So then it continues. It's like the gift that keeps giving back to you. It's like, yes, I did that. I did that. So what's cool is you can now take a picture and share it in our Facebook group and show all of us that you did that. Joshua Becker said the first step in crafting the life you want is to get rid of everything you don't. So we're step 2, we're going to be talking about crafting the life that you want. So we've got to start in step 1 with letting go of things that you don't want. So we can get closer to the things that you do, the type of life and the way you want to feel in your life and who you want to be in your life. How do we bridge that gap? We've got to start getting rid of things, like process of elimination. Look at it that way. So I thought this was really funny because I think we can all relate to this, right? The pile of jeans. We've got 3 pairs here, or 3 piles here. The no chance in hell I'm ever fitting back into these jeans pile, right? So for me, it's like, oh my God, my size 6s, my like 8s, I don't know if I'm ever going to fit in them again. I'm like, really? So I hang on to them, but they take up a lot of room. And every time I look at them, well, see, I don't live this way anymore. I keep things like I want to feel good in the clothes that I have. So I don't do this, but I remember I remember this very, very well though, that I would have I had a couple pairs of Betsy Johnson pants and they were so skinny mini and they were from when I was like 22 years old maybe. And I would go clubbing in the city and dancing all night and they were very skimpy, but they were really tiny. And then as my body changed and I was like going through different challenges in my life and I'd look at them and be like, oh my God, I suck. I don't fit into them. So every time I looked at them, it wasn't inspiring to me. It actually reminded me of how much I sucked and how much I wasn't in the size I wanted to be. And I overall, now that I know in retrospect, that wasn't helpful. It was like an energetic punch to the gut. And then therefore it would send me on like making more poor decisions because I had a fuck it attitude. Well, if I'm not fitting into those jeans now, fuck it. I'm not gonna, whatever it was, I'm not gonna. For me, exercise was a bit of a problem. I'll get to that. I was over exercising. I was a bit of an exercise junkie. So it wasn't so much that, but it definitely was the binge eating. I'd say, yeah, fuck it. And I would just binge eat. So the middle here, I might squeeze into these one day if I have a bad stomach flu, right? There's the possibility kind of pile. But again, you look at it and it's a little bit of a tinge of like less than, or I'm not really there yet. I don't know if I'll ever be there sustainably. And then the actual pairs that you wear, there are 2 pairs in that pile. So, I just think it's funny because we can all relate to this. I don't doubt it. Or even if maybe it's not jeans and it's leggings, right? I mean, I love jeans, but I definitely know I have a lot of women in my circle. They're like, I don't wear jeans. It's pants. It's whatever it is. I'm sure we can relate to it. So here's where we can begin letting go. Obviously, the clothes in your closet, the clothes in your drawers, your handbag, your shoes, your makeup bag. How much makeup do you hold on to that you started and it's like, I don't even wear this. I don't even like it. We're taking a look at energetically and emotionally, where do we settle? Where are we settling for mediocrity in what it is we have? That's literally weighing us down. Social media feed and emails. So this is really important. Like unfollow, unsubscribe. Any place you're following that's like this ping of it makes you feel bad about yourself. Why are you torturing yourself? So we're like inquisitive. Isn't that interesting? I torture myself every single time. Like I'm following this account and I'm okay with torturing myself and making myself feel bad. Isn't that interesting? What is up with that behavior? We're going to talk more about that in step 3 and step 4. Subscription services. Maybe you subscribe to things and you've got like some money leaks going on and you're like, oh my God, I got $10 here. I got $9 here. I got $15 here. And you just sort of pay it. But that's also like, that's important. That's important. They're energy leaks. They're like, I'm like not really using it, like the exchange of value of like, right, I pay for this thing, but so let's take a look at that. Does that matter to you? Do you want to change that situation? Do you want a healthier relationship with money while you have a healthier relationship with food in your body? Kitchen cabinets and refrigerator. So some of these are just some places. This is not designed to overwhelm you. It's designed to inspire you. So we're going to pick one area. You do not have to do all the things. Now, should you decide to work in my mentorship with me, we've got a whole, like, there's so much time to go through this stuff together with me. But in our little time together, it doesn't have to be very long. The exercise is little and it can be small and still be so impactful. So pick one area and set 15 minutes. So we do have 4 categories that we can either throw out or throw in recycling, right? It's either garbage or recycle, like cardboard recycling, clothes recycling, glass bottles, those kinds of things. We can donate, right? So you give it to Goodwill. Maybe there's a battered women's shelter by you. Maybe, the church, the local church is doing a drive. You can sell them, Marketplace, Poshmark, all those places, right? Or you can keep it for now. You can also choose to repurpose it. You may even say, okay, I'm going to keep this for now, but I do want to upgrade it. So that can also be kind of a category of understanding, you know what? This is good. It serves its purpose, but it's on my short list of things I want to upgrade. I want to like flip this out for something else that's nicer. Like for example, my laptop. I replaced my laptop and it was like, okay, this is good for now. But then at some point I was like, it's time to upgrade. Like I need a better workflow. I need this to be smoother. So here's your assignment. So you're going to choose one area of your living space and get rid of 3 to 5 things with joy. So choose your area of choice, right? That I shared with you. Closet, drawer, your shoes, your email list, your inbox, unsubscribe to email lists. You can do your social media feed, Instagram, Facebook. Do a little purge like that. Now I have this picture here because I wanted to share some insight. Sometimes when you outgrow clothes, it's not the size that matters. It's that the clothes themselves just don't feel like they fit your personality. So maybe it's a certain cut, maybe it's a certain style, maybe it's a certain color scheme that you like, I'm not feeling it anymore, So these are a bunch of workout tanks and they were like clever, funny little sayings. But when I would put some of them on, they didn't feel like me. I felt like this one, ambitious, driven, and a little crazy. There was a certain part of my life that I was very proud to be ambitious, and I'm still ambitious, but I felt like it was almost an identity that was holding me back. I was so proud of it that it was this driven, perfectionistic, go, go, go. And now I've learned about myself yeah, I can be balls to the wall and really go at certain times in my life. And other times I need to step back and hibernate. I need to recover. I need to recharge. So this ambition driven and a little crazy just didn't connect with me anymore. I started to get to know myself even more and then realize like, now this isn't to say if you've got some of these tanks in your closet and you're like, I put this on and I feel like a powerhouse. That's the important thing. Don't let my connection with where I am in my life change with your connection of where you are in your life. Let me be clear. Again, these are not Dana's rules. This is like you finding your guidance back to yourself, your alignment to you. That's what matters. You're reconnecting with you. I remember I was working with a client recently, and one of the first things she had connected with doing this, continuing this exercise, was like she's like I pulled out my baseball hat and I started wearing my baseball hats again, and it felt like this is me, and I stopped wearing them because she had moved and all of her clothes are kind of like in bins and in storage, and she pulled her baseball hats out again and she started wearing them, and I was you look so freaking cute on you. So that's what I'm talking about. Where can you reconnect with really finding that part of you that maybe you've been hiding, you hide behind clothes or wear clothes that are like, I'm just doing this to fit in or blend in or so it's just very interesting what can come from the intention behind this exercise. So it's no longer I'm just donating clothes and just filling up the bags and giving them away. Now you will be forever changed in your decluttering exercise from this point forward. I guarantee it. I've heard women who have gone through my roadmap to food freedom years ago and will still talk about this exercise. Okay, so I want you to post a picture in our Roadmap to Food Freedom Facebook group. Again, the hashtag is Spring Freedom 2024. So I'm going to be running all those hashtags, and as many times as you enter with the homework and as much as you want to share, you will be entered every time you post and use that hashtag. You're going to be entered in for winning some prizes and giveaways. Okay, so again, I've got this little coloring book companion I'm excited to be sending out to you. Again, no matter, depending on when you watch this, maybe you have it already, but I will be emailing it to your inbox on Friday, April 19th. Or if it's past April 19th, then I'm going to make sure once you register on the thank you page that it's right there for you to download and you can have it. But if you need anything along the way, please let Mandy know. All right, Mandy at realfit.tv. You can DM her on Facebook. You can tag her in our Facebook group. She'd be happy to help you. Okay, so let's see. Escape here. Let me see if I can. Is that the last page? Yep. Awesome. We're all done here. Stop sharing. Yay, we did it. Okay, I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to see your posts in our Facebook group. I'm going to be posting too, by the way. Don't think because I'm giving you this exercise, it is not something that I do myself. There's something you need to know about me. The framework that I teach my clients in our mentorship and how I heal my relationship with food is the framework in my life. And I continue to do it today. And that's why I live in food freedom, because there are things that are like just really good layer after layer to go a little deeper. So there's always, I always have a bag handy that I'm like, my husband and I have a rule in our house. It used to be a one in, one out rule where if you're bringing one thing in, if you buy like a hoodie or buying a pair of boots or something like that, then you have to get rid of something. But now we pretty much have a one in and two out rule, because the truth is that pile of jeans is like this. When you're really looking at the things you actually wear, you don't actually wear as much as you think. And every time I go through a season of clothes, I'm like, did I even wear the sweater this season? Nope. Get rid of it. Did I wear this tank top this season? Nope. Get rid of it. So it makes it easier to just stay on top of it once you have this framework and you develop a bit of a system. And you also, at the same time, and we're going to be talking about this in our time together, it's about understanding your level of where you're putting up with stuff in your life and what do you think you deserve. Do you think you deserve mediocrity? Do you think, and then the clutter just comes back in? So that's what's really happening there, is like, once you feel like it's almost like you're raising your standards. Not almost like, it is. You are raising your standards. You start to raise your standards in how you're treating yourself and how you're treating your environment and how you really respect yourself and your body and your environment inside and out. So that's really what this exercise is about. It's about that alignment. of what we say we're going to do and what we're doing, we're practicing some alignment here. How can we rebuild our trust and confidence that what we say and do are actually like truth, and there is integrity in that. So, all right, so excited for you. Can't wait to see what you post. And I can't wait to see you in step number 2. Make sure you invite your friends. Now that you've gone through the first step with me and you're getting pumped, please, please, please bring your girlfriends in. Any other woman you have in your life, a coworker, a sister, someone else that you think would benefit from taking a look at their relationship with food and their bodies differently. They belong here. I would love to have them. Okay, I will see you in the next one. Bye.